What's up, guys? Keyshawn Uchiha here, back at you with another new Alternate Universe What If. Now, this will be a 18SS, and this will be a part of the 4,000 subscriber special. Now, this will be a lot of sex details, a lot of fighting details, bloodshed, and just a lot of things. But this will be this out of context. This will not follow the storyline 100%, and it would basically just be crazy. So if you like to hear OP, sex scenes, blood scenes, crazy scenes, scenes that's just not supposed to be in this anime, you came in the right place because this would be What If. Well, we're gonna be What If Max. It's basically just gonna be part one of What If Max. Now, this will basically have every idea that Yasuda Garbus gave to me, and this will basically be all in Naruto. Now, without further ado, let's get this started. Now, how would we just start this off? Well, we're pretty much going to start with the first Hokage and pretty much Madara fight. Now, after the whole fight and stuff, this is where Hiroshima is pretty much, out of chakra, but pretty much defeated Madara. Madara is laying down to the ground. This is where I pretty much appear and grab Madara. Now, before you could say I go, this is where the Hiroshima purposely sees me and says, "Who are you?" And pretty much I just disappear with Monitor. Now, this is where I pretty much tell Monitor what's the plan and tell him why I saved him, which Monitor is saying, "Okay, so what are you basically saying to me?" Which I pretty much explained to him that, "Oh, well, Monitor, I'm basically telling you this. You basically what the White Zetsu pretty much betrayed, well, the Black Zetsu pretty much planted all of this, all the way to the first reincarnation of you, which this is where he says, so I was getting rid of it, which I pretty much says, yeah. But first, I'm gonna have to make you a little bit immortal. Immortal to meet someone. To pretty much train someone for me, which this is where he says who that person will be. Which I pretty much tell him it's gonna be Obito Uchiha. But only you have to wait. But I'll make you immortal. And I'll also give you these two eyes, which Madara pretty much opened back up his eyes and he says, "This is, yes, the Rinnegan Madara. I'm gonna give, I'm gonna give you the Rinnegan, but I need you to make a son." Which he says, "Make a child." Which I pretty much says, "Yeah," and he's gonna be Obito Uchiha. So he will be, it will all be according to plan, and make sure to send him off to Leaf Village for a reason. Which pretty much Madara says okay, and he pretty much, you know, goes out, look for a perfect woman, and we're just gonna say it's a random woman, which Madara pretty much tied a knot with her and pretty much makes not Obito but Minato Uchiha. Now this is where Madara tells Minato to keep his name secret from being Uchiha and pretty much head off, which Minato heads off. Now a time skip, which Madara is still alive and Hiroshima is dead, which it's for a reason. It's for a reason. But let's continue. Pretty much continue. Now, this is where Minato is born, and he pretty much formed the Team 7, which I'm pretty much on the same team with them because I'm having Obito pretty much. Yeah, we're gonna say pretty much be in the same predicament and stuff. So we're going to lead up all the way to part with I'm with Team 7 and pretty much making friends with Obito, Kakashi, and Rin. But pretty much, we're gonna get to the part with the cave accident and stuff. Now, this is where Obito get crushed by the boulder, and Obito gives Kakashi his eye. Now, of course, this is where we pretty much get out of there, and I pretty much stop Rin and Kakashi. This is where I pretty much tell Kakashi the truth about Rin and stuff, that she's pretty much the three-tailed Jinchuriki, that the Hidden Mist basically put the three-tailed Jinchuriki in her, which this is where I break the seal so they can't activate on Rin, so Rin doesn't go crazy. And I tell Kakashi to protect Rin her life while I go trying to find or get Obito's corpse. Which pretty much Kakashi says alright. Now this is where I pretty much tap tell him to close his eyes, and I pretty much give him a different pair set of a Sharingan. Now, this will be the yellow Sharingan. They're basically going to have not like the red feature, but it will have a yellow outliner of the outside, but it will still be a Sharingan, but instead of red, it's yellow. And it has different aspect abilities, but let's basically continue the story. Now, this is where I pretty much take Obito's body and pretty much take him to Madara, which Madara appears and pretty much says, I saved you, which Obito's saying, who are you and stuff, and Madara does the same as usual stuff. And this is where Obito gets his training and stuff, and this is where he starts going because Madara say Rin and Kakashi is in trouble. And Kishan's in trouble, which Obito starts going. Now, this is where, of course, as everything happens as canon, but this is where Kakashi pierced Rin. But this is where he not knowingly missed Rin at the wrong second, because we're gonna say Rin, we're gonna say Rin was about to lose control of the Three Tails Jinchuriki because it was about to break out, and he pretty much pierced her and knocked her out, but not killed her. Now, this is where Obito sees it, and he begins to go crazy and stuff. Now, this is where, of course, Madara is seeing this and stuff, and Obito begins to kill all the hidden mist ninjas. Now, after he kills all the hidden mist ninjas, this is where I pretty much appear is tell Obito that Rin is not dead, which he pretty much calms down and stuff. But this is where I pretty much tells him that she's not dead yet, but we can heal her. But for this dream to not, for her death not to happen, I need you. I need you to get ready to form the Akatsuki, which Obito says, what do you mean? Which I pretty much give him the, I pretty much give him the white Sharingan eyes, or not the green Sharingan eyes, which, like I said, it's basically, instead of red, it's going to be green, and it's going to have different aspect abilities about it. But let's continue, and I pretty much give him another Sharingan, and pretty much says, it's time to go, which, this is where I tell him to grab Rin, and we pretty much starts to go, which Kakashi is left alone, which I pretty much create a dead body. Not a dead body for myself, but pretty much just gone. Which Kakashi wakes up and sees Rin's body is gone and pretty much start crying. Which Kakashi pretty much unlocks his internal Mangekyo Sharingan. He unlocks his Mangekyo Sharingan on both eyes. Now, we're gonna do time skip and we're gonna do Obito starts attacking Minato and stuff. Now, this is where, of course, Minato is fighting Obito and stuff. And the same thing happens as usual, but Minato doesn't lose a lot of chakra, and we're gonna say he pretty much handled the Nine-Tailed Cherokee by putting him under a Genjutsu. Now, after he puts the Nine-Tails under a Genjutsu, this is where he does half of the ceiling, so Naruto will get the yin, or pretty much the bad chakra, get the Nine-Tails hatred, and Kushina will get the other Nine-Tails. So yeah, Kushina's gonna be alive in this, and she'll be a Senju because Naruto's gonna be half Uchiha and half Senju. Now let's do another time skip, which this is where Naruto's gonna be. Actually, no. When Naruto's be born, this is where I pretty much stop time and appear. And before Kushina and Minato can grab Naruto and stuff, I pretty much see their baby. I pretty much shows up and pretty much takes the Nine Tails Kurama and pretty much gives Naruto the Ten Tails Jinchuriki. Now, this is where, as I give Naruto the Ten Tails Jinchuriki, Naruto begins to start grow horns, and that's pretty much it. And his skin is going to be pale white. Well, going to be like that transformation, but yeah, his skin's going to be like that. And he's going to have the horns and true seeking. So he's going to be different, but much stronger. And this is where I pretty much resume time in Minato begins to look and says, "This is our son," which Kushida says, "It is. I could tell," which Minato is saying, "Huh, I just saw he was normal," which Minato doesn't mind it in this. They're pretty much happy that they can see the baby and stuff. Now we're gonna do a time skip now. This is where we're pretty much at the point where Nagato is friends are in trouble. This is where up here it pretty much kill all the ninjas that's trapping Nagato in his friend and also the girl, freeing her and teleporting her back to Nagato and saying, "Nagato, you okay?" Which he says, Kishana too, which we're gonna say before before all that, I was pretty much with Jiraiya. This is where pretty much we're gonna say before Nagato got in that predicament. We're gonna say this is me and Jiraiya pretty much walking together, and learning techniques and stuff. But pretty much found Nagato and his parents and stuff, and pretty much we helped out Nagato and his family and stuff, and pretty much yeah, continue on. But it was all staged by me because I told Madara to give Nagato his eyes, and I would give him an extra pair of Rinnegan, which Madara did, and we're just gonna say, yeah, that's lead to this point now. But pretty much this is where Nagato says, "Oh, Keyshawn is you," which I pretty much says, "Yeah." And my attire is gonna be the Sasuke attire with the Orochimaru, which we're gonna say the 2 year time skip Sasuke with the steel curse mark and that outfit. But yeah, it's gonna be that outfit. But I'm not as a we're gonna say that's a well. I'm just gonna say I'm a kid version. I'm still a kid version, and I wear Sasuke attire, which pretty much Nagato says, Kishan too, which our prefect says, yeah, need help, which this is where Nagato says, yeah, and pretty much this is where we dealt with the ninja and stuff, and I pretty much asked Nagato, will he join the Akatsuki and help reach all the dreams to reality, which Nagato agrees, thinking this is the right thing, which I pretty much tell him that all we have to do is continue the same plan of capturing the tail beast, but which Nagato agrees. But let's continue. Pretty much after that, this is where we do a time skip, and we're gonna say this is where Orochimaru makes his starts having his laboratory stuff and not joining and not in the Akatsuki. Well, we're gonna say he is a part of the Akatsuki, and pretty much all the teams is getting formed and stuff. And Nagato has his, 2 friends, a part of the Akatsuki too, since they want to make the dream reality and make true peace. Uh, this is where this is the period where everybody's grabbing all the Akatsuki members, and I'm a part of the Akatsuki too, but I'm also a part of we're gonna say the hidden sound village or the sound village because it's for a reason. But this is where we're at the period where Orochimaru is having experiments in making the curse marks and stuff and making the powerful sound 4. Now this is where I have a curse mark because I can make one instead of Orochimaru biting me because like I said I have all the DNA of everything, so yeah. I could just make myself a curse mark. And I become a part of the sound 5, so instead of the sound 4 it's a sound 5. It's just as where I make friends with uh pretty much the sound 4 and the sound 5 girl. Well, we're gonna say the girl who's a part of the sound 5. I think Tanwari, if I'm correct. She has films for me, which we're pretty much become the sound 5. Which Orochimaru is pretty much saying this is his strongest unit yet. Which I pretty much says, yeah, we are the strongest unit. Now, this is where we do a time skip. And pretty much this is where we do not the start of the anime yet. Now this is where pretty much I talk to Obito pretty much goes to the Akatsuki and pretty much talk to Obito saying it's almost gonna be time, which Obito says, yeah, Emel's in. Which Rin, well, we're gonna say which Rin, she's pretty much is already healed up, but yeah, yeah, pretty much. This is where Rin is pretty much is healed up and stuff, but she went back to Leaf to go back to Kakashi to pretty much help him out. But also, she's a secret spy because I'm gonna say I put her under Genjutsu for a reason. But let's continue. Now, this is where Sasuke is pretty much Sasuke is pretty much born with Naruto at this point. And we're gonna say this is where I go to Leaf Village and appear in front of Sasuke. Well, starts looking for Sasuke, which this is going to be a 5-year-old Sasuke. Now, this is where I'm pretty much appearing, and I see Sasuke, which I pretty much stop time, which Itachi is pretty much about to give his brother a pat. It says maybe next time, brother. Which this is where I appear in front of Sasuke. It says, Sasuke, we meet at last. Which Sasuke says, who are you? Which I'm pretty much as a kid version myself because I'm appearing as a kid, so they won't see me as an adult or teenager. I can change my age or whatever I want, so I'm pretty much just growing in the time period with everybody else. But this is where I appear pretty much talking to him and saying, Sasuke, I'm here to give you a gift. Which he says, what gift? And he begins to back up, which I pretty much says, these white Sharingan eyes, they're much powerful. And I want to give you this too. Which I pretty much give him Rain's power. Now, I know someone wanted to wish for Sasuke to become Rain from Mortal Kombat, so I'm giving Sasuke that special ability and also a hockey ability too. Give him a Devil Fruit ability. Now I know what you're thinking. What the Devil Fruit are you going to possibly give him? I'm going to give him Dark because what the hell? It's going to be for a reason. But yeah, I pretty much give him Dark Fruit, which I pretty much say this fruit is also for him too, which when Sasuke eats it, which I tell him eats it, he pretty much says this tastes like crap, which I pretty much says, oh, trust me, doing time, you will get stronger and unlock these powers. You can, no Sharingan eyes. You can go all the way up to the 3 Tomoe Sasuke. But you have to get older to unlock the internal Mangekyo Sharingan. Which, this is where he says, you saying I have a Sharingan? I can activate them? Now which I pretty much says, yeah, but only 3 Tomoe. And I begin to disappear. Or you could say teleport away. Or calmly. You could say because I have all DNA. And say, see you next time, Sasuke. When you're older, which I pretty much disappear, which he says, see ya, which this is where Itachi is confused with why Sasuke waving and saying, oh, did you not see him? Which this is where Itachi says, who are you talking about, little brother? Which he says, Kisha Uchiha. He pretty much gave me these eyes. And he pretty much activate them in, it's like the white Sharingan eyes, which, like I said, instead of red, it's white, and also it has a different content. So yeah, it's for a reason. But yeah, let's continue. This is where I go to Naruto. Well, yeah, pretty much 5-year-old Naruto, which Naruto's trying to concentrate his chakra control and stuff because I'm gonna say the Ten Tails is trying to take over Naruto's body and all that, and also trying to feast off his emotions since everybody is looking at Naruto thinking that Naruto is the thing that attacked the village and stuff. But this is where I pretty much appear in front of Naruto. Pretty much have a talk with Naruto at a secret area because I'm gonna say I appeared in front of Naruto before. Now, as I'm appearing, this is where I talk to Naruto. It says, Naruto, what's up the sad face? Which Naruto pretty much says, oh, you know, Kishan Uchiha. Pretty much everybody think, call me this demon fox, or call me the fox child. Which I pretty much say, it's okay, Naruto. And I know you've been having a problem with the Ten Tails security. Here, how about we both meet together and try to talk to the Ten Tails security? Which Naruto says, really? You can help me fix my chakra control? Which I pretty much says, yeah. Now this is where we go in Naruto's landscape. And Naruto's pretty much floating. Because we're going to say he has that ability. And he sees the Ten Tails. Now the Ten Tails is going out of control and Red Page and all that. Which I pretty much tell Naruto to concentrate and hold his hand out. It says, now, now freeze. Which pretty much Naruto says it. Which Naruto makes it freeze. Now, this is where the Ten Tails Cherokee starts to talk. It says, you have her power. You made me stop. Which Naruto says, did I do that? Which I pretty much says, yeah. This is where the Ten Tails Cherokee says, you remind me of her, Kaguya. Which Naruto says, who is Kaguya? Which this is where the Ten Tails begins to talk and tell his story about Kaguya and stuff. And that's his mother and stuff. And what happened to her and stuff. This is where Naruto feels bad for the Ten Tails and says, well, we could be friends, which the Ten Tails says, huh, you want to be friends with me? A monster? Which Naruto says, yeah. Which, this is going to be the same Naruto with the childish nature and stuff. Which the Ten Tails begins to start laughing, but says, alright, Naruto, let's be friends. Which I begin to smile. Now, this is where I fix Naruto's seal and give the Ten Tails some bigger space, but also kind of give him a link together, which this is where Naruto tells me to he says thank you to me, which I pretty much said, anytime Naruto. But remember, keep it a secret between me and you. Which Naruto says, yeah, and pretty much goes back home, feeling happy. Now, this is where I go back to Orochimaru, which Orochimaru asks me, where have I been? Which I pretty much says, oh, doing my own thing. Which Orochimaru doesn't mind. Now, this is where I pretty much say, so Orochimaru, are you ready to have your own immortal body? Which he pretty much smiles and says, I thought you would never ask. Which I pretty much says, yeah. And Kimuraru, I'm gonna be curing you. Which he says, alright. Now, this is where we do the time skip and stuff. Now, this is where we have a 10 years old Naruto. Now, due to the whole, same event that happened, Sasuke pretty much went to the same path because Itachi massacred the whole Uchiha compound and pretty much joined the Akatsuki, which when he's joining Akatsuki to become a spy, this is where I pretty much see him and says, yo Itachi, which this is where Itachi is shocked and sees that he sees me, which we have encountered before when I was doing a mission for the Sound, and I had to team up with Itachi to do the Samba mission. But let's continue. Pretty much, yeah, this is where Itachi is shocked. He says, Kishan, Uchiha, what you doing here? Which I pretty much says, oh, I joined the Akatsuki. Which we're going to say Itachi's seen my combat skill before, but he only knows that my name is Uchiha, but he doesn't know if I have a shard or not, because we're going to say in the mission I never did anything. But this is where I pretty much is sitting down at the whole Akatsuki thing. And pretty much Itachi gets his partner and pretty much gets sent off and to go hunt down I think the Three Tails? Nah, not Ren, because Ren is the Three Tails. The Two Tails. Yeah, we're gonna say they switch position and go hunt down the Two Tails. Which Itachi and we're gonna say the first partner before Kisame. Yeah, and they go hunt down the Two Tails in Turkey. Now, this is where I pretty much says that I have to go somewhere, which Obito says alright. But yeah, but I pretty much call him Madara because Obito and the whole confusion. But yeah, well, no, I pretty much tell Obito that I'll be going, which Obito says okay. Which I pretty much go to Orochimaru. Well, no, yeah, I pretty much go to Orochimaru, and pretty much Orochimaru is, well, we're gonna say Orochimaru wants kind of something bigger, and he wants Itachi's body. But for him to get Itachi's body, he has to get Sasuke to kill Itachi or to team up with him to kill Itachi. So that's why I gave him a different like a body, but not an immortal. Well, I gave him an immortality body, but he wants the Itachi body to transform all that stuff so he can have the Uchiha's Tosuke blade because that's what he really wants. But let's continue. Pretty much this is where I talk to Orochimaru, which Orochimaru says, Kishan, get ready for the attack. Which I pretty much says, oh, the attack, we're planning to attack on the Leaf Village and for you to get Sasuke. Which he says, yes, all in due time. Now, this is where everything happened to Kanon. Well, not everything happened to Kanon, which, hold on, give me a sec. Okay, sorry, I'm back, but let's get back. This is where we're at the time skip of Team 7 being made. And pretty much, this is where I'm pretty much watching from afar and seeing how Naruto do and Sasuke do. This is where the Team 7 whole teamwork go different as this is where Naruto pretty much used the soul-seeking orbs as his whole thing, but not to kill Itachi, but pretty much to corner him. Which this is where Kakashi used substitution like 3 times, and he pretty much backs up. Now, of course, this is where Kakashi's getting serious, and he opens up his eyes, pretty much forming the 2 Sharingans. Which Sasuke is shocked that Kakashi has a Sharingan, and begins to get in the serious look and begins to form his internal Sharingan, which Kakashi realized that Sasuke can go into the eternal, or not the internal Sharingan, to the Mangekyou Sharingan, which Kakashi tests how far Sasuke can go with that Mangekyou Sharingan and form his. This is where Naruto begins to concentrate and form Sharingan. It forms into the internal Sharingan, which Sakura pretty much is at awe. This is where I pretty much stop time and peer in front of Sakura, saying, Sakura, you want to actually be useful and not useless. Which this is where she looks at me and pretty much looks down and says, yeah. Which I pretty much tell Sakura that I'm going to give her pretty much some gifts, which I pretty much tell her to hold out her hand. Now, this is where I give Sakura. Well, this is where I pretty much give Sakura, 3 powers. You could say powers up, which this is where Sakura begins to transform and stuff. Which this is where Sakura pretty much opens up her eyes and she sees that her skin is different. Well, begins to see that she's different, which she has markings on her hand and, well, you could say tattoos on her. But she pretty much says, what is these markings? Which I pretty much said, well, I pretty much gave you the mark of the Sagittarius Dojutsu, or pretty much the Kinki Kikkai, you could say. I gave you the Dojutsu and Kinki Kikkai, which pretty much, she pretty much asks, what is the Kinki Kikkai? Which I pretty much says, oh, you'll find out soon enough. But you kind of have similar, like the Hyuga's eyes, but the Kinki Kikkai is different. The bullseye eyes is pretty much is a Jojutsu, which you unlock the stages of the bullseye. But right now, you pretty much just has the dot of the bullseye of the first stage. But I also gave you the Kinki Kikkai of the Sagittarius mark, which she will have like these unique markings as they cover around her, like kind of like shadow benches, but they're like little hands going around her, and she has a Sagittarius tattoo on her neck. So yeah, Sakura is pretty much broken, and I pretty much altered her history. So Sakura Haruno will have the name Haruno still, but their family is from a long line of Sagittarius clan. So you could say that, but let's continue. Pretty much I resume time and Sakura pretty much forgets about me. Well, yeah, I made Sakura forget about me and Sasuke and Naruto, so they don't remember me because I pretty much erased them. I put their memories on hold for now, for reasons. But pretty much this is where Sakura summons a bow and starts shooting an arrow at Kakashi, which 1,000 arrows come out of nowhere and starts piercing Kakashi and holding him down, which the arrows are draining his chakra. So he's right now can't really use the skeletal system of the Susanoo, which Sasuke grabs him, which Naruto, we're gonna say, used the universe pull and pulled the bells from him, pulled the bells from Kakashi, and they pretty much passed by using teamwork, which Kakashi is proud of his team. And also Minato from far looking is also happy seeing how Naruto did and stuff. Now, of course, this is where we're going to go and pretty much go to the Forest of Death arc. Now, everything happens the same with Zabuza, but the fight with Kakashi and Zabuza fight in the first hand goes different because Kakashi is in a much like he get trapped by the prison, but he pretty much he pretty much like Naruto and Sasuke used teamwork, pretty much got Kakashi out, and Kakashi with Tsurugi pretty much damaged Zabuza much worse than usual. But this is where we're going to the Bridge Builder arc. Now, this is where, of course, I'm seeing from afar with Obito, and Obito sees Kakashi, and Obito is not mad at Kakashi because I told Obito to let it go. It was all for a reason, and I pretty much say that he can't get mad at him for doing what he had to do. Which Obito understands and says, yeah, but our dream is going to come to reality. Which pretty much Ren is, well, I'm gonna say Ren is still at the village, but as a spy, get information and stuff from us. But yeah, let's continue. This is where, of course, she's a sleeper agent, so yeah, we're gonna say that. But pretty much let's continue. This is where me and Obito see how Sasuke and Naruto do, and Sasuke pretty much starts concentrating, and he's using the skeletal system of blocking Haku attacks left and right, and using the white flames, or you could say the white light beam, and begins to destroy half of the dome of the ice mirrors, which they will reform back much quicker. Now, as that's happening, this is where I pretty much see it says, "Come on, Sasuke, remember the devil fruit I gave you," which this is where Sasuke begins to concentrate and begins to use his Logia type ability. Because I'm going to say Dark is a Logia, but you gotta think about not getting touched and stuff. So, actually, no, we're going to make it passive because let's make Sasuke broken. But yeah, let's continue. Pretty much Sasuke begins to not think, and this is what Simba needs to go through him and stuff, which Sasuke is pretty much smiling, saying, "You're done for." And he begins to start using the dark abilities and stuff on Haku's mirrors, and the mirrors can't reform back because we're gonna say the flames are like kind of with the Sasuke's Mangekyo. So yeah, pretty much Sasuke is using the dark fire and pretty much destroying half the mirrors. This is where Naruto is pretty much saying, "You got this, Sasuke." Pretty much just where Haku does the last attempt to shoot symbol needles at Naruto, which Sasuke recklessly takes the blunt force of the attacks. Now this is where Sasuke pretty much coughs up some blood and pretty much hits down the ground and starts. Well, he passes out but not dies. This is where Naruto says, "Wake up, Sasuke, wake up." Which this is where Naruto starts to get angry, and we're gonna say Naruto kind of loses control. Which I say, "Oh, this is getting interesting." Which Obito says, "Yes, indeed." Which I'm still in my, we're gonna say 10-year-old body because with the sound 5, well, the sound 4. So yeah, but pretty much we watched the fight. Now, of course, this is where Naruto starts, getting under control, getting boosted, and begins to start, transforming into that, we're gonna say Sage mode or the Asusi form, like Obito's transformation. It starts to destroy Ahaku, other than just ruining her. Now, this is where Naruto goes in and pretty much use a Sacred Hold to grab Haku and destroys her, slams her to the ground, which Haku can't move any of her body because her body is just pretty much broken. This is where Sasuke coughs up blood And Naruto calms down with his emotions and pretty much flies to Sasuke, asks if he's alright. But Sasuke pretty much says, Naruto, you're back to that form, which Naruto calms himself back and starts transforming back to his regular self. Because we're gonna say it's an on and off switch. So yeah, Naruto can transform back to normal wherever he please like. But when he's out of control, he transforms into that state. But let's continue. Pretty much Haku. Pretty much this is where Zabuza is about to get pierced with the lightning blade. This is where I stop time and pretty much appears in front of Zabuza and says, Zabuza, do you wish to die here, or do you wish to change your ways and join me and make the dream become reality? Which Zabuza is confused and said, what do you mean? Which I pretty much asked him, do you wish for you and Haku to survive this and see another day, and will y'all join me? Which Zabuza is thinking like, what do you mean? Which I explained to him that if he joins the Akatsuki, will join the Akatsuki and stuff, and also help me out. I will help them out and help them get stronger and stuff. And I also will pay them, so they don't have to be and I will give them guaranteed protection, so they won't get hunted down by the hit and miss. Which this is where Zabuza agrees to these terms, and I pretty much grab Zabuza and Haku, and they disappear. Which this is where Naruto and Sasuke and Kakashi and Sakura is confused of where the hell they at. This is where, of course, the goons come in, and Naruto and Sasuke completely destroys them. And shit, we're gonna say we're gonna say Kakashi came in the midst and completely fucked them up too. But after that celebration stuff and all that, and it's gonna be named the Great Sasuke and Naruto Bridge, just because. Now we're going to do a little bit of go all the way to the, let's say, the Forest of Death arc. The Forest of Death arc, if I'm correct. Or you could say the Chunin Exam arc. Now, this is where everything as usual goes the same, but Sasuke pretty much whoops Rock Lee ass in that first encounter, and Naruto pretty much was just there to watch. But we're gonna continue go to the test. Pretty much they pass this with ease, and they go to the next part. Now this is where we're gonna go to the Force of Death arc. Now, this is where of course Orochimaru, which I pretty much wait for Orochimaru to say to go get Sasuke, but we pretty much gonna go to the Orochimaru. Now this is where Naruto is much more stronger than Orochimaru, you could say, because Naruto has the Rinnegan. So yeah, Naruto has the Rinnegan activated because we're gonna say the Ten Tails gave him the Rinnegan and also told him to practice with it. So Naruto has it active always, so he will know whereas when Sasuke and Sakura is in trouble. But yeah, let's continue. Pretty much this is where Orochimaru is fighting with Sasuke and pretty much put fears in Sasuke's eyes, which Sasuke is pretty much shaking and Sakura she's shaking too. This is where Orochimaru is going to attack Sasuke. Pretty much is, getting the upper hand with Sasuke until Sasuke steps out of it when he sees Naruto comes in, and pretty much this completely hit Orochimaru with the true seeking orbs, which Orochimaru pretty much gets himself back up and says, that hurts, which Orochimaru body is healing back up, and which Sasuke and Naruto is shocked that he healed immediately from that. And this is where Orochimaru says, look like I'm gonna get serious then. And he begins to activate his Sharingan eyes, his 3-time Sharingan. Which this is where Naruto says, he's a Uchiha, which Sasuke is shocked too. Is saying, what? You're a Uchiha? Which Orochimaru says, well, you could say that. And they begin to have their talk. Now, this is where we're gonna say Naruto and Sasuke pretty much get the upper hand with Orochimaru and pretty much got him tied up in the tree. Pretty much, this is where Naruto, we're gonna say, the Ten Tails tell him to use the Ice Kenkikai that Haku has, and pretty much use a different combination, but use a water ice wave to trap Orochimaru on a tree while freezing him in the tree, which Sasuke pretty much uses Armor Susanoo. Well, use the white flames. When she says white flames, it pretty much they're hotter than we're gonna say they're hotter than the black flames, and they do a lot of more damage, and you can't erase them no matter the cost. If you get like rid of your shirt, the white flames will appear on you. So that's how powerful they are. But pretty much this is where Orochimaru start burning in. They pretty much say, "There, we did it." This is where Orochimaru sends his tail. It pretty well, not his tail, but his neck, and bites Sasuke. It pretty much get out of there. Pretty much shedding his skin and getting out of there. Which Naruto says, "Damn it!" He starts to get mad until he just grabs Sasuke and they get out of there. Now everything happens different with the whole Sakura thing. Sakura pretty much the match, which while Naruto was in the mindscape and Sasuke was resting, Sakura pretty much handed off the Sound 3 that was trying to get Sasuke, and she pretty much whooped their ass. But let's go to the whole fights. Everything pretty much goes as the same in canon, except for Sakura fight. Her fight is different, which she has a Kinkai or the Bullseye when she activated her Dojo shoot the Bullseye, which is just a thought, and she pretty much shoot the arrows at which Ino is trying to dodge the arrows, but the arrows keep, you know, aiming straight at her and pretty much or go or do a loop around and pretty much hits her, which she pretty much gets out of that. Now the fight with Sasuke, the fight with the Sasuke and Curse Mark thing, Sasuke pretty much we're gonna say controls it and pretty much beats the shit out of the guy and wins it. Now the fight between Rock Lee and Gar, pretty much same. Now Deji attacking Hinata. This is where Sasuke gets mad. Well, not Sasuke. Naruto gets mad and pretty much blitzes Neji and punches him in the gut, sent him flying to Raw, saying, "How dare you hurt Hinata like that?" Which this is where Naruto pick up Hinata and begins to start opening up the Geto Sensei and place her in there, which Dado Tensei heals her and Naruto pretty much asks if she's alright. But she started blushing and saying yeah, which Naruto's pretty much happy and hugs her, which she's pretty much blushing and passed out, which Naruto freaks out, says, "Are you okay?" So Naruto's pretty much gonna have that relationship with pretty much Hinata, but also with Ino too, because we're gonna say Ino has a liking to him and Tenten. So it's gonna be like a triangle, and it's gonna get hotter when they get older, for a reason. So we're pretty much gonna hold off the whole sex thing for now. But let's continue. It's gonna be an hour-long video, but let's continue. Pretty much after that, this is where they get the 2-week training, if I'm correct. And Sasuke trains with Kakashi while Naruto goes trains with Jiraiya stuff. Now, everything happens as canon, but this is where I appear, which I pretty much team up with. Nah, this is where actually no, this is where Itachi will go after Naruto and try to capture him, you could say, because we're gonna say before we go after the tail beast. Well, we already went after the tail beast, but we didn't extract the tail beasts. Well, we're gonna say only no. The 3 tails is with Rin, so and the 9 tails is with me. So the Akatsuki team pretty much captured. The 2 tails. Pretty much captured the 2 tails, but not put it in the Geto Tattoo yet. Pretty much holding it off, but we have the 2 tails in the Genjutsu. So yeah, well, let's continue. Pretty much after that, this is where Itachi appears in front of the hotel room, and I pretty much have my blade. Pretty much has my blade, and my attire is pretty much a Sasuke attire. So yeah, but in the black. But not in the black, but in a different color setup. Kind of in a different color setup. Like blue and red, you could say. Or you could say black and white. Like dominoes, but let's just go. Pretty much this is where I have pretty much is messing with my knife and say, Naruto Uzumaki. Or should I say Naruto Uchiha, or should I say the Ten Tails of Cherokee, which I'm pretty much with which Naruto says, huh, what do y'all want? Which this is where Itachi says, you're coming with us. Which this is where Naruto closed the hotel room and pretty much forms a style. It says, or he says, Auto Tensei and makes a big explosion, which me and Itachi backs out the way. It says, huh, look like look like he knows that this is not right. Which this is where Naruto gets in the serious fighting stance, which I pretty much says this will be fun. Now, of course, this is where Sasuke comes in and says Itachi, and he pretty much forms a pretty much mixture of forming a pretty much a black fire Chidori, and pretty much charge at Itachi with quick speed. Pretty much thinking that he is Itachi, but this is where Itachi pretty much subjects out of there with crows and pretty much starts fighting with Sasuke. And he's pretty much whooping Sasuke ass because we're gonna say Sasuke still, if he has the internal, uh, Itachi has a stronger Mangekyo just for now. You could say. I mean, yeah, and Sasuke has the Mangekyo right now, but this is where Sasuke pretty much opens up his eyes and releases the Mangekyo, which as Itachi was choking him at the same, which Sasuke uses Mangekyo to use the white flames, which I pretty much tell Itachi to lose the orbs immediately before the flame finds his sit and lights him on fire, lights his flesh on fire, which he pretty much immediately loses the thing, saying, "So, brother, you have the Mangekyo Sharingan," which Sasuke Mangekyo Sharingan is not the same mechanic. It's more like a different design, kind of like you see right there. It's like the Rinnegan, but it has like all those dots. So it's like that's how the Mangekyo Sharingan looks. You could say. But let's continue. This is where Sasuke says, "I'm gonna kill you," and he pretty much has his rib cage showing, which Itachi is saying, "Ari Mangekyo Sharingan at this age? How? How does he have this?" Which this is where our Prima says, "Well, Itachi, look like you're gonna have to use your Mangekyo Sharingan. I got Naruto," which we pretty much start to have our one-on-one fights. Now, I'm pretty much dodging Naruto attacks with ease and pretty much stuff, which Naruto is saying, "Damn it, how come I can't touch you?" Which I'm pretty much saying, "Oh, Naruto, you're never gonna touch me, but I want to test you out," which I pretty much form my one Tomoe Sharingan, saying, "Shall we go then?" Which Itachi looks and says, "So he does have a Sharingan, but my Sharingan looks like the Galaxy Sharingan, so yeah." I pretty much start. Well, my Sharingan is yeah, pretty much looks the same, but it has galaxy stars in the back of it. But it's basically a regular Sharingan, but not with red, but galaxy stars. But let's continue. I'm pretty much fighting with Naruto stuff, and I'm pretty much dodging his attacks and stuff with my one Tomoe and saying, "Come on, Naruto, you have to think something outside the box." This is where Naruto forms two clones and he begins to have one of them shoot rockets at me, which I pretty much dodge the rockets, which the other clone pretty much pulls me. I say, "Oh," and this is where Naruto says, "Fire style, Jatektic Fireball Jutsu," which I pretty much says, "Huh." Which this is where Naruto thinks he gets me until he sees my body pretty much turns to ash, and I pretty much start assimilating back, or you could say my body de-assimilate, and I re-assimilate right behind him, saying, "Congratulations, Naruto. You might, you managed to make me go with my two Tomoe Sharingan," which I begins to kick Naruto in the back, sending him flying all the way to the end of the hotel hallway, and he pretty much hits the wall. This is where I pretty much blitzes knee Naruto in the stomach, sending him flying out. Now, this is where I pretty much pulled out my knife, not as a kunai, but as a real knife, kind of like a dangerous kitchen knife, but it has like a sharp design on it, like, or you could say have a unique killer. Yeah, like kind of has knives on it, but like spikes. But this is where I walk up close to him and pretty much knee him down. Naruto says, "Huh, look like I got you. But I should give you congrats. I should give you my congrats, Naruto, for getting me up to the 2 Tomoe Sharingan of my Galaxy Sharingan." Which this is where Jiraiya comes in and pretty much uses his style, which I pretty much back up, and dodges his attack and says, "Oh, looks like we better get out of here, Itachi. We can't fight all three of them." Which Itachi pretty much nods, and I pretty much uses my, uh, you could say my warping ability and warp me Itachi out of there. Which this is where Sasuke is coming out, jumping down and saying, asking Naruto if he's alright, which Naruto says he's alright, and pretty much Jiraiya pretty much continue. So everything goes as the same, but that's just that small encounter that happened. Now let's pretty much continue. Now after that, we're gonna go with the 2 year time skip. I mean, we're gonna go with the second fight. Now all the fights got the same, except for Naruto and Neji fight. That fight goes as much different. Before Naruto goes down, this is where he this is where he says goodbye to Hinata, but he gives her a kiss on the cheek, a kiss on the lips, which she pretty much passes out, and Naruto pretty much smiles and goes down there. Now, this is where Neji gets in his fight stance and begins to try to fight Naruto. Now, of course, this is where Naruto says, I have a Byakugan too, which he pretty much activates Byakugan, which Neji says, "What? You're a Hyuga? How did you get to Hyuga's eyes?" Which Naruto says, "Well, I'm the Ten-Tailed Jinchuriki host, so I have all eyes, especially the Byakugan, and I will defeat you with the Byakugan style," which this is where Neji goes into fighting stance and waiting for Naruto to attack. This is where Naruto forms 2 clones and charge at Neji. Now, Neji pretty much do the scroll, and this is where Naruto pulls Neji by switching one of his eyes into the Rinnegan and using the pull thing, and pretty much starts hitting Neji chakra points. Now, as he's hitting all Neji chakra points, this is where Naruto kicks Neji back, and pretty much says, and pretty much appears right behind, or you could say, uses his true Seeking Orbs to grab Neji by the legs. Now, this is where Naruto walks up to Neji, and he begins to start smacking the absolutely shit out of Neji, because Neji can't do anything. He got all his chakra points sealed up, and he's pretty much getting, you could say, clowned by Naruto. But this is where Naruto's pretty much smacking the shit out of him left and right, saying, "Don't you ever lay your hands on Hinata again like that. That is your own family member." Which Neji is pretty much is coughing up some blood, looking all beat up. Now, this is where Naruto goes a little beyond and holds him in the neck and says, "The next time you do that, Neji, you will die by my hand." And Naruto pretty much karate chops Neji in the neck, knocking him out. Which the Hyuga disapproves of it, but Hinata, she's a little bit disapproved, but she's happy that Naruto cares for her. And the fight pretty much ended. Now, the fight between Sasuke and Gaara, that fight goes a little different, but Sasuke doesn't go to the state of like he pretty much just doesn't get hit by Gaara's attacks because he ate the dark fruit, and plus it's a Logia fruit, so he really didn't get hit by any of the same attacks, and he pretty much beat the shit out of Gaara, which he goes crazy, and this is where the attack goes in and stuff. Now, as the attack is happening, this is where the sound and me and Orochimaru appear. Pretty much right by Hiruzen saying, "What's up, Hiruzen?" Which he pretty much says, "It's you." So, who is this person? Which Hiruzen asks Orochimaru. Which Orochimaru is saying, "Oh, you're nothing. Oh, nothing. Just here to pretty much just to cause a little ruckus for a while," which this is where me and Orochimaru pretty much does the seal and stuff in. Orochimaru summons the first and second Hokage, but I pretty much touch both of their bodies and says, "And time for the second state," which they pretty much come back to life completely. Now, this is like the second reincarnation thing, but it's like they're like back in their living flesh body selves, you could say. But pretty much, let's continue. Now, this is where me and Orochimaru is pretty much fighting with Hiruzen and stuff, and we're just being a distraction while Gaara does his thing. Now, this is where the same happens as usual, and Naruto knocks out Gaara, gives him the speech and stuff. But this is where this is where I pretty much alert Orochimaru and says, "It's time to go." Which Orochimaru says, "All right," and he says, "You're lucky, Hiruzen. I was just having fun." And this is where we pretty much do the unseal, and pretty much the first and second Hokage disappears, and we pretty much get out of there. Now Hiruzen is still alive, but now he wants to retire because he realized he's getting old, and he pretty much asks Jiraiya, which Jiraiya says he's gonna get Lady Tsunade. Now this is where everything goes the same as Ken, as Naruto goes with Kakashi. I mean, goes to Jiraiya and try to get Lady Tsunade. Now, what's different is Orochimaru didn't go and try to make a deal with Lady Tsunade or anything because I told him we don't need her, and we pretty much just need to get Sasuke. Which pretty much uh, the whole talk between Lady Tsunade goes a little bit different, and everything goes the same with Naruto fighting with Lady Tsunade, but not as the same because Naruto pretty much whoops the absolute shit out of Lady Tsunade, and Lady Tsunade lost the bet and goes with Naruto and Jiraiya to become the next Hokage. He'll Rock Lee and stuff. Now, after that, this is where we're going to have the Sound Forward arc, you could say. Now, this is where the Sound 4 appear. Well, the Sound 5, because I'm in it. It pretty much says, alright, guys, y'all know the deal. Remember, don't underestimate the enemy just because y'all have the upper hand. I want to see all of y'all back here, including you, Tomoe, which she pretty much blesses. This is, yes, Kisha Chia, which I pretty much says, alright, let's go. Which we start going. Now, this is where I pretty much see Sasuke. It says, Sasuke, you ready to go? Which Sasuke says, who are you really? It feels like I remember you. Which I pretty much smile. Says, alright, I guess I should let you remember me. Which I pretty much uses my third Tomoe Galaxy Sharingan that says, release. Or I pretty much says, unseal, which he begins to remember everything it says. So you gave me that. Which I pretty much says, yeah. Now are you ready? Which he pretty much smiles and says, yeah. Let's do this. Which I pretty much says, alright. Now, this is where everything happens as usual, but instead of the Sound 4, dying and being at defeat, well, pretty much dying at the all defeat and stuff, this is where I pretty much bring back the Sound 4 and say, guys, I told y'all not to die on me, which they pretty much all starts to look down and says, we sorry, we all failed. We let our emotions and our temper get to us, which I pretty much says, listen guys, it's okay. I knew y'all was about to die. That's why I brought y'all back. But we're going to have to do a little bit of training. And we're going to train Sasuke too, which they begin to smile and says, alright, because I'm great friends with them and stuff. But let's continue. The whole fight between Naruto and Sasuke happens. But this is where pretty much Naruto absolutely is beating up Sasuke. This is where I stop time and pretty much give Sasuke an extra chakra boost. And we're going to say Sasuke pretty much uses Curse Mark Stage 3. It pretty much whoops Naruto ass. We're going to say just in case. Just for now, because Naruto wasn't properly prepared. Now this is where Sasuke tells Naruto goodbye and pretty much starts coming with me and Orochimaru and the rest of the South 4. And we start to go. Now, we're going to do the 2 years time skip. So yeah, let's go. So, after the 2 year time skip, this is where Sasuke is getting trained by Orochimaru, getting drugged up and stuff. And I'm pretty much training him in the Sound 4. This is where, as the Sound 4 is fighting with, or training Sasuke, we're going to say, yeah, I forgot to tell y'all too. Yeah, Naruto pretty much with Jiraiya to go around the world to train for 2 years to get Sasuke back. So yeah, let's pretty much continue. Uh, yeah, this is where I'm training Sasuke and stuff, and getting him getting him prepared to kill Itachi. Well, kill Itachi, so called. And yeah, pretty much training Sasuke, training his Denfu and stuff, and all that. And also the Sound Force training Sasuke because we're gonna say I gave him Sharingan eyes, and they will all have the all different Mangekyou Sharingan eyes for their unique curse mark for a reason. For a reason. So they all will have different unique Kikigenkai for their own unique stuff. But yeah, let's continue. Pretty much, yeah. The Sound Force is pretty much training with Sasuke with the Sharingan eyes, with the three Tomoe Sharingan eyes, and Sasuke is trading with them and stuff, and dodging all the attacks and getting stronger. And also Sound Force too. This is where pretty much what happened next. Yeah, this is where I'm pretty much training and telling everybody to stop. It says, "Good job, everyone. Y'all managed to have Sasuke go use his use his Mage- use his Mangekyou Sharingan. Good job, everybody." Which they're pretty much smiling and stuff. And tell me she's blushing. Now, this is where I tell Orochimaru everybody needs a break because we pretty much been I pretty much been training them the whole couple year a lot of years now, so they need a break. Which Orochimaru says, okay, which they all have a break and stuff. Now, this is where I'm talking to the Sound Forward and talk to Sasuke. It says, all right, guys, y'all know what this, y'all know what's the plan, you know what's the mission." Which Sasuke says the mission is to kill Itachi and bring his body back so Orochimaru can have. Which I pretty much says exactly. Which I ask Sasuke again, is it okay if Orochimaru takes his brother's body? Which he pretty much says, it's fine with me. I don't care as long as I kill him. Which I pretty much says, okay, then let's go then. Which this is where I tell Orochimaru, well, not yet. This is not where it's gonna happen yet, but this is where uh we tell we pretty much have our thing again, and this is where the arc of this is where the arc where Naruto finally comes back to Leaf Village, saying that he's home, and he's much more different because this is where he makes a complete good link with the Ten Tails. So now he has a good complete link with the Ten Tails, and he has more control with emotions. So now he could tell, he can sense a lot of people. He can tell when they're lying and stuff, and when they're afraid of him or not. But let's continue. Pretty much, this is where Datara and Susui, I think, no, Sasori. Yeah, Sasori have their fight with Gara and pretty much capture Gara and all that stuff. Now, all that events is happening. This is where Lei Tsunade calls Naruto in and said the operation to rescue Gara is a go. Which Naruto says alright, and he's going to rescue his friend and all that. But first, they head to Sand and try to see what's going on there, or you could say to see where they went at. Now, of course, this is where I pretty much tell Datara and Sasori, Sisori, no Sasori, good job with capturing Gara, and we're pretty much going to extract the One Tail or make a copy of the One Tail. This is where I tell them to hold on while I do the operation and make a complete copy of the One Tail. Now, as that's happening, Gara's pretty much out of commission, and pretty much we're pretty much making a complete copy of the One Tail. Instead of extracting it, we're making a copy of it, and Gara's pretty much knocked out to stop it and stuff. But yeah, everything is happening right there. Now, this is where we switch back with me training with Sasuke. I'm pretty much training with Sasuke, and pretty much you know training the rest of the Sound Four, getting them completely strong, and this is where I charge at Tomoe, and she completely activate her Mangekyo Sharingan. Now, her Mangekyo Sharingan would be different as hers, instead of she make black flames, or you could say she can use black flames, but she can also use sound flames, as the sound is going to be technically burning the whole body inside out, you could say. Which this is where she activates the sound flames in. I begins to my ears begins to burn. I begin to say, ah, look like you're burning the inside of my body with the sound. Which she begins to stop and says, oh, I'm sorry, are you okay? Which I pretty much says, yeah, I'm alright. You know I have a I have a crazy healing factor. But she begins to blush. She says, yeah. This is where I begins to whisper in her ear and says, after this, we're going to kind of mess around in the bed, which she begins to blush and says, okay, which that's when we end training in. This is where the 18SS parts is about to come in. So, yeah, get ready. And every character is all older, so that's why I said first the reason why we're doing do the time skip. But pretty much, this is where I pretty much uh, have Tomoe to the bed and throws her to the bed and begins to, you know, undress her, make out with her and stuff, and biting down on her neck and stuff when she starts to moan. This is where I start sucking her moves and stuff and begins to go down and eat her out. Which this is where she comes, alright? Comes very, very hard. Now, after that, this is where I pretty much take off my pants and say, are you ready? Where she begins to blush and says, yeah. And we begins to, go at it like wild animals. And I'm gonna give you that good detail, like very, very. I was going in there. I mean, I was going in and out, switching positions. We was just going crazy. Now, after that, this is where I done nut the sauce, and she pretty much is out of it, which I'm pretty much in the bed laying with her. This is where uh, we're gonna say Orochimaru knocks on my door, which I pretty much uh, puts on my pants and opens up a door and says, "Yes, Orochimaru, what you need?" Which he pretty much says, "When are we going to start this?" Which I pretty much says, in due time, Orochimaru, we're going to get Itachi's body. But right now, you have to wait." Which Orochimaru says, "All right, fine." Now, this is where the same original canon with Deidara and the whole Kakashi fight and all that. That fight goes as different when Naruto's fighting Deidara and stuff. And this is where Deidara is throwing explosions and stuff, and pretty much saying that you're gonna have to go through me and Kisame, which Deidara Kisame is fighting at this point, and Sasori, he's pretty much fighting with Sakura right now. Now, of course, this is where Sasori in the fight, as doing canon, everything goes the same. Sasori pretty much get killed by Sakura and Old Lady, and this is where Deidara. This is where I tell. Well, this is where Deidara pretty much trying to activate a big explosion bomb until Kakashi used his eye and calmly Deidara Ray. It's like thinking that he killed him, but he really just Deidara. He really just put him in another dimension with Obito. Now, this is where Deidara is knocked out, pretty much unconscious, which Obito says, "Huh, look like Kakashi finally used the used the Kawami technique. Huh, I see." Which this is where Obito wakes up Deidara and tells him to come on, and pretty much picks him up and teleports him back to the Akatsuki hideout. Now, this is where Kisame pretty much retreats, and pretty much they find Gar, and Gar is pretty much just unconscious, and he has his nine tails to jerky, which this is where they say that's weird. I thought I thought they surely had enough time to extract the nine tails, huh? Which Kakashi is confused about that too, which he's trying to figure out what they're really up to. Now, this is where I pretty much bring back, take Sasori, pretty much stops time and take Sasori body and brings it back to Akatsuki hideout. Now, this is where I bring him back to life and say, "Good job, Sasori, of distraction him," which he pretty much says, "Thanks." I pretty much look at, Itachi and all of them. Which I pretty much say Itachi, can we talk in a minute? Which Itachi says, of course. This is where I perform Itachi and says, hey Itachi, I know that you're a traitor and a spy. Which Itachi gets immediately a shocked face. I say, oh, but it's okay, I won't tell. Which Itachi says, why? Which I pretty much says, oh, trust me, it's all for reasons. And I pretty much leaves. Now, we're pretty much going to do a little bit of skipping, and we're gonna get to the fight. The fight between Deidara and Sasuke. Now, this is where Data is fighting with Sasuke and pretty much saying, "Oh, this is for your brothers calling my art explosion." Which Sasuke pretty much hit Data with that conclusion speech and saying, "Listen, if your art wouldn't be the explosion, it could be whatever you be. I don't care. Just leave me alone." Which pretty much Data says, "You don't care if my art is an explosion?" Which he says, "Yeah, it could be an explosion. It could be where we want it to be." Which Data says, "Oh, okay. Well, I guess I leave you be." This is where Sasuke asks Deidara to join him to pretty much kill Itachi, and this is the team Taka, because we're gonna say the sound for is at the Hidden Sound Village, still training and also chilling and stuff. And I told Orochimaru to just have Team Taka with, you know, Sasuke original team with Team Taka. Pretty much just be by Sasuke while he goes and kill Itachi. Which Team Taka was doing their own separate things. While Sasuke pretty much, fight with Deidara. Now this is where Deidara joins Sasuke, and as they're going and stuff, this is where Team Taka form back together. And pretty much Sasuke is healing up and also Deidara healing up. Then he begins to start training. Deidara starts training with Sasuke and stuff and all that. Doing a little bit of training up before they go and kill Itachi. Now, after that, this is where we're going to get with the fight with Sasuke and Itachi happens. Now, this is where, of course, I'm just watching the fight commence and stuff. Pretty much in the shadows watching it, like, having the fight commence and stuff. Now, Sasuke pretty much and Itachi is in similar turns right now and fighting with each other. Now, Itachi is pretty much have sickness, so he's pretty much losing. Pretty much welling down and stuff. This is where Sasuke pretty much switched up the knots and goes to 3 time weight and pretty much has the upper hand with Itachi. This is where, of course, Sasuke used the light ball, well, light or white fireball jutsu, pretty much the fireball is getting huger because the jutsu pretty much gets huger each second. As if it gets shoot out, it's going forward, but it's going to keep getting bigger without wind or anything. This is where, of course, Itachi uses his black flames and pretty much counter it, which Sasuke pretty much jumps out the way and jumps up top. Which Itachi jumps up and pretty much fights with Sasuke. Now, as the fight pretty much is happening, this is where, the fight is happening, and Sasuke pretty much is having up the hand with Itachi until Itachi uses his Mangekyo Sharingan. Now, this is where Sasuke is fighting with Itachi and stuff, and Sasuke uses his Mangekyo Sharingan, but this is where Itachi gets to the armor Susanoo, not the full body Susanoo, but the armor Susanoo, which Sasuke is having a hard time. And this is where he begins to do the ultimate jutsu. Well, no, Itachi doesn't use the full armor Susanoo yet, but this is where Sasuke pretty much do the same jutsu and Ken, but it's a different carry. This is where he pretty much forms his hand with black fire. He pretty much says, "Now die," with the thunderclap. And he pretty much draws it down and says, "What? Black fire Karen?" Which the Karen looks different with lightning, but also black fire combined with it, and pretty much strikes Itachi down. Now this is where Itachi, cloak burns off. He says, "I gotta say, brother, that was the strongest attack I ever felt." And he pretty much forms his armor Susanoo, which Sasuke begins to form his Susanoo, but not the armor kind, and begins to try to combat Itachi. Now, this is where Itachi has the upper hand. This is where Sasuke begins to think and starts to have all the memories and stuff. He begins to say, "No, my training is not up to this end." Pretty much, he forms, how can I say, formed the internal Mangekyo Sharingan, white internal Mangekyo Sharingan. Now, his eyes will have the same eye, well, pretty much have more tumblies going around, dots and stuff. And they begin to start moving around. And he begins to make the white and black flames together. Which he gets the body Susanoo. He begins to smack Itachi away to the wall. This is where Itachi is trying to get up, and not Naruto, Sasuke grabs Itachi's body and pretty much slams him down again and says, "You had enough," which Itachi pretty much gets up and Sasuke pretty much unarms himself, and this is where Itachi walks close to Sasuke and pretty much put the handprint down and dies. Which Sasuke looks up and it begins to start raining and stuff. Which this is where Sasuke hits the ground and pretty much pass out due to chakra loss. We're gonna say just because the fight. It's a tough fight. Now, after that, this is where me and Obito grabs the bodies. And this is where Sasuke wakes up and I begins to explain to Sasuke what really happened and why Itachi did it. But I kind of mixed it up in a different way. So you gotta understand why. This is where I begin to tell. This is where me and Obito begins to tell why Itachi did what he did, and that he had to do it because of Danzo, and Danzo planned the whole attack on the Uchiha and stuff. Which this is where he gets his conclusion and starts getting revenge. Now, this is where he plot to kill Danzo, and only kill Danzo. So yeah. Similarly, to attack Danzo and destroy the leaf. Yeah, pretty much. But this is where Sasuke begins to cry and stuff, which I pretty much says, "It's okay, Sasuke. But right now, I need you to get his eyes, and we need to start this transplant." Which this is where Sasuke pretty much stops his crying and says, "Alright," and I pretty much do this transplant and switch out Naruto eyes with Itachi eyes. Because Sasuke won't go blind if he gets to the internal Mangekyo Sharingan, but I'm doing it for a reason. For a reason. You're gonna understand why. But after that, I take Sasuke back to the Hidden Sound Village and pretty much how Sasuke rests and stuff while his eyes doing healing and stuff. Now, this is where his team talk is pretty much waiting for Sasuke. But this is where I take Itachi's body and pretty much make a clone of Itachi's body, which Orochimaru takes the clone body and pretty much use that and make that body immortal, and he hops in Itachi's clone body and have his Susanoo stuff. But yeah, let's pretty much continue. This is where I put Itachi original body in a tube and pretty much bringing him back to life and also giving him a new pair of setup, getting him his same set of eyes and let him rest in there. I'm pretty much saying that it's all due in time. Now, this is where I guess oh I guess this is where we're gonna say Naruto comes much later to try to get Sasuke and goes to Orochimaru hideout, which this is where the Sound 4 is pretty much appearing out and saying, "How dare these?" Which this is where Tommy says, "How dare these uh Leaf Village attack one of our hideouts?" Which the Hidden Mist hideouts. Which this is where Orochimaru says, "Ah, Naruto, you're here." Which Naruto pretty much says Orochimaru, which Sasuke pretty much is blindfolded and pretty much saying, Naruto, are you here? Which Naruto says, Sasuke, come back, come back to the Leaf Village. Which Sasuke pretty much appears right in front of Naruto. It says, not to I, not to I kill Danzo first. I pretty much push. Well, we're gonna say punch Naruto in the gut and backs away. Now this is where we pretty much jump in and pretty much stop Sai, Kakashi, uh and Sakura, which Sakura pretty much is saying like, why am I doing this? Which I pretty much just wanted to say, it's all part of the plan. Which she's pretty much saying, I don't understand you. Which we're gonna say she remembers me and she starts attacking me and shooting her bows at me, which I'm pretty much dodging with ease and stuff, and just not even picking up a sweat. This is where Tommy, of course, is trying to help me and stuff, which I just pretty much tell him it's okay, and I'm pretty much just fighting them. Now Kakashi is fighting with the other three sound, and they're pretty much activate. Well, not activating their curse marks yet, but using their Sharingan. They're pretty much fighting with Kakashi, which Kakashi say they have a Sharingan. Are they Uchihas? Which they're pretty much, which Kakashi's trying to understand if they're Uchihas or not. This is where I pretty much says, all right, I think we pretty much need to get out of here, and I pretty much stop time and calmly everybody away. And pretty much says, oh, time to get out of here. And I pretty much just appear, which Naruto was saying, Sasuke, and they pretty much just head back to the Leaf Village. But this is where Naruto asks Sai, was he really trying to kill uh, Sasuke? Which Sai says that he didn't really mean it, which Naruto called him out and stuff, and everything happens as a result. But let's continue. This is where Sasuke unbandages his eyes and he begins to show his Mangekyou Sharingan and says, "It's time to get revenge." Which I pretty much says, "All right, but be careful." Now, this is where Obito appears in the five Kage summit and it begins to initiate his war against the whole Leaf and stuff. And also Sasuke, everything happens original, but Sasuke kills Danzo much earlier. Well, we're gonna say it happens much earlier, and Sasuke pretty much kills Danzo, and yeah, that's all happened and stuff. Now, this is where the whole we're gonna say the Sage arc happened, and we're gonna say oh shit, but yeah, let's continue. This is where the whole Orochimaru arc happened. You could, well, no, the whole I forgot. Orochimaru's servant happened. We're gonna say he goes rogue and takes some Orochimaru DNA and goes rogue. Now this is where he starts the whole Great War arc. Well, we're gonna say the whole Ninja War arc happens the same with the whole Obito fight with Naruto in his Sage mode. But we're gonna say in the Sage mode with the Ten Tails and all that happens is the same. Now we're gonna go all the way to the against the good Great War arc, and pretty much I tell Sasuke to pretty much to stop Orochimaru's servant for going rogue. Which this is where the servant is trying to start his own revolution and stuff. Now this is where Sasuke and Itachi starts meeting each other begging, which Sasuke says, Itachi, how you alive? Which Itachi doesn't know how he's alive, but they pretty much work together. And Itachi uses the that Genjutsu and pretty much loses one of his eye, which he pretty much explains what it is and stuff. And pretty much Itachi says he's sorry and stuff, which Sasuke is pretty much mad at him and says whatever. He walks away. Now, this is where Orochimaru summons. Well, I guess this is where Orochimaru summons the I'm gonna say the two, I guess, two of the Hokages, and pretty much talks to begins Sasuke begins to do the questioning stuff. Now we're gonna switch to the between Naruto fight. Now Naruto is pretty much fighting with Madara now, fighting with Madara Obito, and the fight is pretty much going as usual. Obito pretty much loses, and Madara, uh, I guess fights with Harashimara, but I gave him the Senju DNA, so he pretty much defeats the non-living Harashimara and stuff, and Sasuke begins to come in and try to stop both of them. This is where, uh, I guess we get all the way to the Kaguya fight. Yeah, everything happens the same, and this is where, Kaguya reappears. Now, this is where I pretty much says, this is gonna be fun, and I smile. Now this is part one of the 18SS. I'm sorry that I didn't put more 6 details, but it's gonna be going crazy. But other than that, I'm Keisha Chia. Thanks for watching, and let's get this up to 20 likes if you want another part. But I'm Keisha Chia. Thanks for watching, and peace out.
It looks like you lost another one.